We're going to talk about the exhausted parent's guide to goal setting, breaking free from the paralysis of not enough. So we have a couple stories here today. We're going to go through those. What do you think about stories, RJ?
Oh, listen, for you, it's the best way to describe, to teach, right? The subject matter. So I like the way you tell the stories when we're doing the podcast.
Perfect. So let's get into the first one here. It's about Sarah. It's her 3 a.m. revelation. So Sarah stared at her laptop, the cursor blinking, mocking in the empty document titled "My Goals 2025." It was 3:17 a.m. and she's been awake for the past hour after her youngest had another nightmare. The house was finally quiet, her husband snoring softly beside her, and this felt like the only chance to think about something other than school lunches, soccer practice schedules, and the growing pile of laundry. She'd seen the Instagram posts from her pre-kid friends, marathon training schedules, side business launches, meditation retreats. Part of her ached with longing when she had stopped dreaming about her future. When had getting through the day become her only measurable success? The blank document seemed to whisper to her harsh truths. You can barely keep up with what you have. How can you possibly add more goals to your plate? Sound familiar? You're probably nodding along. You're not alone. You're experiencing what we call goal setting paralysis. That overwhelming freeze that happens when the gap between where you are and where you are going feels completely impossibly and very wide. So, what do you think about this, RJ? Have you ever had this issue before? Where you
I think
like
anybody who wants to. I think anybody who wanted to have a side hustle or has even started a side hustle has experienced this, where you know you have something great inside you. It just, for whatever reason, right now you can't imagine where it is or how to get to it.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty crazy how we can just like get paralysis by just like overthinking something, right?
Hmm.
Right. Let's move forward here. The hidden cost of survival mode. So that's what happens. You get in survival mode when you're doing this stuff, right? Here's what nobody tells you about parenting. It's not just physical exhausting, it's also mentally consuming in a way that makes personal growth feel like a luxury you can't afford. Every decision from choosing the right preschool to fighting out why your teenager suddenly hates you demands emotional energy you didn't know you had. Let's go talk about Marcus, who's a father of three, full-time accountant. He used to love woodworking, dreaming of eventually starting a custom furniture business. But after his third child was born, his workshop became a storage room for overgrown clothes and broken toys. He basically told himself that I'll get back to things when things calm down, he shared. But I realized I was waiting for calm that wouldn't come. The problem is that hardworking parents lack ambition. No, it isn't the problem. It's because they overwhelm with other stuff, right?
Hmm.
It's traditional goal setting advice assumes you have margins in your life. It assumes you can wake up an hour earlier, as if you're not already sleep deprived, that you can just say no to commitments, ignoring the fact that many of your commitments are non negotiable, or that you can simply prioritize better without acknowledging that when you're responsible for other humans, your priorities often are not your own. So
Yeah, we have life demands, right? And
yeah,
we try to figure out where's the balance between the two. But and I know your family, your children are your priority.
yeah,
Absolutely. We get this, right? However, you have to look, why did you want to do that side hustle? Usually it's because you want more income, you want a better life, you want to be able to provide things for your family. And if you keep that in mind as your why, then you can become more committed to it, right? Try to find, look, we've found time, even though we are busy, adults, busy parents living lives. And yet we found time to work on our side hustle, right? So
yeah, yeah, for sure. All right, so let's go. The myth of the perfect moments. Next title here. Lisa, who is a single mother of two, laughed when I asked her about her personal goals. Goals? I'm in pure survival mode. I'll think about goals when my kids are older, when I have that promotion, when I finally catch up on sleep. She was waiting for the perfect moment, the magical time when life would become manageable, even though to allow her even though she can manage her personal growth. But here's the truth about Lisa, and you may not know, or maybe you need to hear this. There's no perfect moment. There's only this moment, messy and overwhelming as it is. The parents who successfully pursue meaningful goals don't wait for their lives to become easy. They learn to work with their reality, not against it. They discover that the key isn't finding more time, it's redefining what progress looks like. So we're gonna get into this. It's called the micro goal revolution. You want to hear about it, RJ?
Sure.
Okay. So another story here about Ellen. She's a marketing director and a mother of twin toddlers. That's a lot of work. She's been dreaming of writing her novel for years, but felt ridiculous even to think about it. I can barely find time to read a book, let alone write one, she said. The traditional advice would be find your why and commit to writing 1,000 words daily. For Ellen, this felt like setting herself up for failure. So, what did she do? She did something very different. She committed to writing one sentence during her lunch break. Just one sentence. Some days it was profound. Other days it was simply the character felt tired. A reflection of our own state. But after 6 months, those sentences had become paragraphs, and those paragraphs became chapters, and so on. So she wasn't writing the great American novel on predictable schedule. She was just writing. And most importantly, she was rediscovering a part of herself that she thought she had lost. This is the power of micro goals. They're so small, they almost feel silly, but they're mighty enough to create momentum. The work, because they don't require you to completely restructure your life, they fit into the little cracks of your existing reality. What do you think about that, RJ? Do you think that can work for you, the little micro goals?
Absolutely. Yeah. Listen, do what you can when you can, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, the littlest thing will eventually develop into progress, right?
Yep.
You and I have used this method in getting things done. Um, and so for sorry, who was
Al-
Elena?
uh, Alana.
So you know what? She decided that her thing was writing that book, right? Writing that novel. That's a simple one, so that all you have to do is write a little sentences, right? But when whatever your business model may be, you know what? Knowing what little thing to do, getting your email set up, setting up your website, doing a little 2-minute broadcast to your
Mhm.
followers. So take the time when you have it to do that one little thing.
Yep, yep, for sure. I also know there's other things called habit stacking. So this kind of reminds me of that a little bit, where you can do one thing on top of something else. So you could be eating your lunch and doing a couple paragraphs, or one thing that we're going to is later about how different stuff you can use further in this article. So if you guys are watching, stay tuned, and we'll get more into it. So we're going to talk about the art of imperfect progress. Traditional goal setting culture is obsessed with consistently and optimizing. Miss a day of your morning routine, you failed. Can't stick to your meal prep schedule, you lack discipline. That all or nothing mentality is particularly toxic for parents because your life is inherently unpredictable. Your toddler will get sick the day you plan to start your fitness routine. Your teenage will have a crisis right when you carved out the time to start your online course. Your boss will schedule a last minute meeting during your sacred lunch break. That sucks. This isn't failure, it's life. The parents who thrive learn to embrace what we call imperfect progress. They celebrate showing up when they can, not when they should. They measure success in seasons, not days. They understand that sometimes the most radical thing you can do is simply not give up, which is very true. Hey, RJ, have you ever gone through? I want to give up this shit and I want to do it no more.
You and I talk about this all the time, right? There's so
Yeah,
many disappointments in this business world. You
yeah,
think you're making progress, things don't work out the way you want them to. Numerous times I felt like giving up, and like I said, I thank God that I have you, my cheerleader, alongside with me, who's kept me going when I might
yeah,
otherwise have wanted to
yeah.
just
Yeah.
call it quits.
Yeah, well, that's good. You have someone helping out, or just someone who has the
I
same
think
interest,
that's
right?
important, right? I think that's important. You need a sounding board, somebody who you can, who knows what you're doing and why. And
Yep.
then when those moments get hard, somebody to talk it through with.
Absolutely, or just someone just to say
Because
something because you.
We're our
Sometimes
own
we are.
worst critics, right?
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Because we get inside our head and we just a lot of doubt comes up, right? Which we probably is in like imaginable, like you know what I mean. It's just something that's not real. We make it real, but when you talk to somebody, like, "Oh, what are you talking about? This is ridiculous." It's like, maybe you're right. Maybe we need to rethink this. You know,
Yep.
it's good. All right, let's refine. Let's redefine success in your season. We'll talk about David here, who's a father of four. Used to be an avid runner before kids. He'd run marathons and provide for him prided himself on his sub 7 minute mile race, which was pretty fast. After becoming a father, he tried to maintain the same training schedule and nearly broke himself trying. I feel like a failure because I couldn't run the way I used to, he admitted. Then David had a revelation. Maybe success isn't this season of life looked different. Instead of 10-minute runs, he started doing 20-minute walks during his lunch breaks. Instead of racing against his old personal records, he started racing against his stress levels. Some days his run was chasing the kids around the playground. It wasn't the same as his old hobby, but it was still movement, still connection with his body, still a form of self care. David learned that the key to overcoming goal setting paralysis isn't forcing your old life into new reality. It's creating new definitions of success that honor where you are right now. So, what do you think
Mhm.
about that, RJ?
Yeah, look, the key is to do something, right? Um, Instead of sitting watching TV, when we get
Mm-hmm.
that 15-minute break finally, get out and do that run. Get out there and write a short page of written effort, right? Do something that's going to take your progress to the next level. And the thing you mentioned was, we want to have perfection, right? We want it to
Yep,
be right, but progress over perfection. You know what? Do something right now because you can. You can worry about perfection once you've got that 10 pages or whatever, or
yep.
once you've gotten some exercise. You can worry about how well you train, or how much better you're going to be later on.
Yep, yep. Also, don't forget the kids grow up too, right? So do something now to be part of their lives and do something fun, right? Run around with them, do stuff like that. That'll help your fitness. And then when they get older, go back to the gym or whatever you were doing before, right? So
Hmm.
season, right? So it's all good. So let's talk about the compact or compound effect of small wins. Here's something magical about micro goals. They don't just help you make progress towards specific objectives, they rebuild your confidence in your ability to achieve anything. Even small wins creates the evidence that you can still grow, still change, still become more than you are today. Remember Sarah from our opening story? She eventually closed the blank document and started smaller. Instead of creating a comprehensive life plan, she committed to reading one page of a book each night after the kids were in bed. Some nights she was too tired to tell after sleeping. She fell asleep after one paragraph. Other nights she found herself reading the entire chapters. After a year, she had read 20 books. That's freaking amazing. More than that, she read in previous 5 years combined. That reading habit gave her the calms to try something else, listen to podcasts during her commute. Then she started a small herb garden. Each tiny success built on the last, creating compound effect of growth that eventually led her to starting a small consulting business from her home. How do you feel about that, RJ? Doing little things and then eventually they get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, that's what we've talked about today, right? Do
Yep.
something, even no matter how small it is. And you know what? Maybe you feel like doing something more tomorrow, or a different, aspect of it, right?
Mhm.
So that's what
Yep.
growth is all about.
Yeah, for sure. And also find like if you do something like I've done Seven for Hard twice now, and when I first started, it was hard to do the things they recommend, like drinking water, reading a book, taking daily pictures, right? And now, even though I'm not doing it, I still read every night, like 10, 15 minutes, whatever, right? And sometimes the morning I'll do it too. But I've read more books than I've probably read in a very long time in the last year, right, for myself.
Mhm.
So it's kind of cool. So it's fun. It's great that you can do little things and can make a big difference. So
Absolutely.
your permission, your permission slip to start small. If you're feeling overwhelmed by the idea of personal goals, consider this your permission slip to get started ridiculously small. You don't need transformation. You don't need to transform your entire life. You just need to make one small step toward the person you want to become. And that's part of like you need to know what you want first, right? If you want to do something, Just figure out backwards and how to get it done, right?
Yeah.
Maybe while doing 5 push-ups while your coffee brews, why not? Maybe it's writing 3 sentences in your journal before bed. Maybe it's calling one friend per week instead of letting moments go by without a meaningful connection. Maybe it's learning one new word in a language that you've always wanted to speak. My favorite thing is Duolingo. I did that for a whole year and I learned French, and then I didn't do it for a year and lost it. So, got to maintain it,
Mhm.
right? The goal isn't to become perfect; it is to become intentional. It's to provide to your prove yourself that even in chaos of parenting, you can still nurture the parts of yourself that aren't defined by your role as a caregiver. So, what will happen? We'll create a ripple effect. Here's the beautiful truth about pursuing personal goals as a parent. It doesn't just benefit you, it benefits the entire family, which is awesome. When your child sees you reading, creating, learning, and growing, they learn that growth doesn't stop at child or stop at adulthood. When they see you honoring your dreams alongside your responsibilities, they learn that self-care isn't selfish. It's necessary. You're not just setting goals, you're modeling like what it looks like to remain curious, hopeful, and committed to becoming the best self, even when life gets complicated. So, what do you
I
think about
like
that,
that one.
RJ?
No, I like that one.
Yeah,
First of all, let's go back a bit because I didn't get to comment at the end of your last
yeah,
section.
yeah.
There
Yeah.
was,
Okay.
you know what? When I
Mission
heard
switch.
what you were talking about, um, I thought of the quote by Martin Luther King. Take this first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase, just the
Yep,
first step, right? That, and then
yep,
you know what? Usually, the first step leads to a next step, leads to a next step, so that you are making progress over time. That's really what growth is all about, right? And
right
then,
on.
um, in this one, I would say I took note of the fact that we are modeling for our children, right? What we do
Hmm.
now, our kids are always watching us, right? So what
Yep,
we're doing now is going to show them how they can behave. So keep thinking that if you're working on your growth, you're showing them that I need to do this stuff. Even though I'm teaching you, even though I'm helping you grow, I'm doing this stuff. That means they're going to do things that are going to be beneficial to their growth, right? Because they see their parents modeling them.
all right. I guess I got some comments here I missed. There's Levi Gust 96 says shout me. Say hey Levi. Hey Robert lads says hello. What else we got here today? That's all I can see for the moment, but we'll move forward here. As in the next title, goal setting for us is real, but it's not permanent. It's a normal response to feeling overwhelmed and stretched thin. The antidote isn't to set bigger goals to find more time. It's to start small and permit yourself to grow at your own pace. Your dreams don't have to wait until your kids are older or schedule is cleaner or your energy is higher. They can start today in the margins of your beautiful, messy, and overwhelming life. After all, you're ready to provide. You're already providing every day that you do hard things. Now it's time to prove that you can also do meaningful things one step at a time. So, speaking of starting small and building momentum, if you've been thinking about creating additional income streams to give your family more financial breathing room, you're not alone. Many hardworking parents are discovering that a side hustle can be the perfect micro goal that fits into their busy lives. Whether you have 30 minutes a week or 3 hours, there are opportunities designed specifically for parents who need flexibility. I actually create a blueprint for hardworking parents. You can go to hardworkingdadclub.com and you can check out that blueprint. It is free. Just got to sign, give me your email, and get in there. Because sometimes the best way to overcome goal setting paralysis is to start with something that you can actually improve your family's financial future with. One small step at a time. Any other comments for today, RJ?
No,
As we finish up?
way to go. Look, this is a hard one for people to, to manage that lifestyle, right? We've talked about this time and again.
Mhm.
So I just like that, what, do something. Remember
Yeah,
what you're doing and why, and then do something today. It doesn't have to be everything that you've put on your to-do list, right? Get
right.
something done that's going to be productive.
Yep. Yep. Just a little thing at a time, right? Just like do something. If you have a bad habit, and Robert here says do one cigarette less a day and one less a drink. That's great. Start somewhere. You got to have that goal of what you want in your life. Just do it little step at a time. You'll get there, right? So if you guys are
Absolutely.
watching on YouTube, subscribe to my channel. I would love that. Hit the bell so whenever I go live, you can see me go. If you're watching on Facebook, leave a comment and let me know what you thought about the show today. If there are any things you guys like about it, let me know. If there's something you don't like, I'd love to hear it so I can improve it. RJ, any closing words for yourself?
Nope. Thank you for joining us today. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. We got more coming. Um, and just keep doing something. Keep making progress. You have a dream, you
Yeah,
have an idea, you want to build this thing for whatever reason. You know the reason. Is that reason powerful enough? If it is, do something today.
awesome. Thanks, RJ. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time. Have a great day. Bye bye.